Hey everyone, hope you're well. It's been another few days, so I've got another few handhelds, and today I thought, given AliExpress have their Choice Day sales and offers going on at the moment, that I should do a three-way clamshell face-off between Powkiddy's V90S, Anbernic's RG34XXSP, and the Miyoo Flip. I'll run through the specs and some practical differences, then my first impressions with each handheld and the control feel, alongside the stock firmware experience, a quick GBA showdown, and a summary up at the end. So, starting with Powkiddy's V90S, uses the all-winner A133 Plus with 1GB of RAM and a 3.5-inch 640 by 480 IPS screen in a 4:3 aspect ratio. We've got no built-in wireless. The size closed is around 89 by 85 by 26 millimeters. No 3.5mm headphone jack, and the battery is around 3000 mAh and is user replaceable. The price hovers around the $50 mark, and that's before any Choice Day coupons are applied. Anbernic's RG34XXSP runs the all-winner H700 with 2GB of RAM, a 3.4-inch 720 by 480 panel mapped at a 3:2 ratio. You get Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and a 3.5mm headphone jack, plus a mini HDMI out port. The dimensions are roughly 83 by 82 by 25mm, and the weight is around 178 grams. The battery is around 3000 milliamps as well. The price hovers around the $60 mark, and that's before any coupon codes are applied. And lastly, the Miyoo Flip has the Rockchip RK3566 with 1GB RAM, a 3.5-inch 640 by 480 IPS screen at a 4:3 ratio. Again, we've got Wi-Fi built in, and there's a 3.5mm jack and mini HDMI out. It's around the smallest at 82 by 80 by 20mm and around 165 grams. Again, the battery is 3000 milliamps. With the Flip being the oldest of the handhelds, you can get some really good deals on it, with the Choice Day prices coming in at around $45, and that's pre any coupons applied. It's also the only one to be included with a carry case, which is very handy. In terms of first impressions, the Powkiddy V90S does look the part overall, and the hinge feels decent. You do lose some quality of life features compared to the other handhelds though, like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and TV out. The overall build quality also makes it look and feel the most toy-like, and there's no headphone jack included. But the D-pad and face buttons aren't horrendous. The pad is spongy rather than clicky, yet accurate for the quarter circles and diagonals, but there is just a little bit too much travel into the shell for my personal taste. Shoulder buttons are easy enough to reach. There's no analog sticks here, but only really limits the later systems anyway. Moving on to Anbernic's RG34XXSP. This feels well built with a classic clack close and a solid hinge that inspires the most confidence. Anbernic's controls tend to always be conformed with a bit of a crisp and clicky feel to them, and this is the same, and it works well on clamshells where the button travel is just more shallow compared to the rest. It also includes dual analog knobs, which you might not need for 8 and 16-bit, but they do help for navigation and ports and the odd PlayStation 1 title, of course. Front-facing mono speaker is well placed, and the 3.5mm jack is very much welcome. Then lastly, we've got the Miyoo Flip. The Flip feels light, but the hinge feels and looks the flimsiest out of the three, which is something worth bearing in mind when it comes to clamshells, of course. The controls are probably also amongst the weakest of these handhelds, but that's not to say they're bad. It's just with the dual sticks tucked low, it's got a fair D-pad, feel, and the horizontal shoulder layout is fine. It feels the most fragile out of the three handhelds overall though, and the hinge looks and feels the weakest. So it's just worth bearing this in mind. But on the other hand, it is also or at least currently, the cheapest. In terms of the out-of-the-box firmware experience, the V90S's stock OS is emulate Linux-based, and it looks to be the best stock experience out of the three in terms of looks. But the real win is that the Plum OS community firmware already exists for the V90S, and that adds niceties like port master support and better configuration and various fixes over the stock OS experience. You still need a compatible USB Wi-Fi dongle, of course, if you want to get network features, but I just couldn't get things working like scraping properly in the stock OS, but that worked fine in Plum OS, so that would be my personal recommendation. With the RG34XXSP, Anbernic's recent stock OS is definitely better than it used to be, and is perfectly usable for the non-tinkerers or gifting out the box. If you enjoy tweaking though, there are active custom firmware support already, including Rockniks and Nully builds. And I think or hope at least a version of Mustard OS is coming soon too. But the point being that this means that you can choose a lightweight front end, keep with stock, or just custom to your liking though, which is absolutely great. And then lastly, we've got the Miyoo Flip. The stock firmware is functional and is easy to navigate. But the device has a healthy custom firmware scene with MinUI and amazingly Gamma OS core, with Spruce OS and Nully in active development too. The awesome guides over at Retro Handhelds have guides available that cover the update steps for those who like to tinker, but chances are there are an experience out there which you'll like. So rather than making this video hours long with various gameplay videos for each, I thought I'd touch on each handheld's inspiration and cover GBA gameplay specifically. Starting with the Powkiddy V90S, it's a 4x3 640x480 display. Performance is absolutely fine on the GBA for the A133 chip inside it, but as with the Miyoo Flip, you'll not get the perfect 3x scale that the RG34XXSP has. Controls are good for the 2D games though, and the screen is respectful for the price. Anbernic's RG34XXSP is the star of the show, as it has a 720x480 display mapped at 3:2 ratio, which means it's a perfect 3x scale of the GBA with no shimmering. It certainly looks the best out of 3 for GBA content. The Miyoo Flip is a 4x3 640x480 panel like the V90S. The GBA looks fine, and you'll be able to either run with small side borders or accept a non-integer scale. The brighter RK3566 CPU and IFPS does help, yet it does have a slight dullness to the display. So overall, in terms of GBA specifically, the RG34XXSP definitely takes it for picture purity and quality. The Miyoo Flip and V90S experiences are similar, and they both still play GBA well, just without the scaling niceties, and the V90S does end up having the brightest screen overall. In terms of a summary of the Miyoo Flip, if you do want the smallest and the currently cheapest clamshell, which also has a lively custom firmware scene, the Miyoo Flip does just that. It is a lovely little form factor after all, and it's got a suitable control feel and just has the lots of firmware options available. You do need to keep an eye on the hinge, and I'd advise to make the most out of AliExpress's coupons and protection programs if you do need them. For the cleanest GBA image specifically, and the most complete feature set and controls, the Anbernic RG34XXSP comes out on top for me. It's got a solid hinge, and the 3:2 ratio presentation for the GBA makes it look fantastic. You have the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Mini, HDMI out, and the 3.5mm headphone jack the stock OS is decent straight out of the box, and there's plenty of custom firmware choices if you do want to tinker. It's got a bit of weight compared to the rest of them, but I actually prefer this in the hand, and it's definitely got the best build quality overall. So in terms of a summary, the Powkiddy V90S doesn't look bad, the controls aren't the best, but they're not the worst, and the A133 will run everything up to including the PS1 nicely. You do give up built-in wireless and HDMI and a headphone jack, of course, and you may want to install Plum OS for a nicer time, specifically if you want to make use of the wireless dongle with it. That's it for now though. Let me know how you feel about these multi-device comparison videos, and thanks so much for watching.